I never thought I'd be the guy to catch his wife cheating on him. And honestly, I never thought it would happen the way it did. My name's Jake, and I've been married to Lisa for about 6 years now. At first, everything seemed fine. Yeah, she was a little bitchy, always throwing little snide comments and acting like the queen of the universe, but I thought that was just her personality. She's a tall, blonde, sharp-tongued woman. She knew how to push buttons but also knew how to charm her way out of almost anything. We had good times, or so I thought. Our relationship wasn't perfect. She was demanding, often dismissive, and she had this way of making everything about her. About 2 months ago, I started noticing small things, little changes in her behavior. She'd come home later than usual, sometimes smelling like she'd been out with friends but refusing to tell me where she'd been. She'd get defensive if I asked her about her phone, snapping at me as if I was invading her privacy. At first, I brushed it off. Maybe she was just stressed with work, or maybe she was overreacting because I was gone so much. With my job, I'm a firefighter and I spend a lot of my time fighting wildfires across the state. It's dangerous work, and when I'm out fighting fires, I don't expect much else to be going on back home. But the signs kept piling up. She'd suddenly be more distant, less affectionate. She stopped wanting to have sex, and when I tried to talk to her, she'd brush me off or snap that I was too busy. Honestly, I thought maybe she was just tired of me or had found someone else. But I didn't have any concrete proof, just gut feelings. Still, I kept going, hoping it was just a phase or work stress or whatever. Then one day I decided to go through her phone. I know it's invasive, but I was just curious. Something about her attitude lately felt off, and I thought maybe if I saw something, it would explain it all. I found nothing at first. A few texts from her friends, some memes, nothing unusual. Then I came across a message on her Snapchat from a number I didn't recognize. It was a photo, just a quick snap of a guy's hand, but I recognized the ring on his finger instantly. It was Captain Mike, the fire captain I'd worked with for years. The one who's always been a bit too close to Lisa, always joking, always touching her arm in that friendly way. I'd seen the way she looked at him sometimes, like she was flirting, but I just assumed I was being paranoid, until I saw the picture. My stomach dropped. The message read, "Can't wait to see you tonight, miss you already." And the photo. It was them in her bed, half naked, clearly in the middle of something that was definitely not just friendly. I could see her face in the reflection of a mirror. Her eyes were closed, lips slightly parted. This wasn't some innocent goodbye kiss or a quick flirt. This was something much dirtier. It hit me like a punch to the gut. The one person I trusted, my wife, was screwing around with one of my closest colleagues. I was frozen there, staring at the screen. I felt every ounce of betrayal, hot tears threatening to come out, anger bubbling up, a sick sense of disbelief. How long had this been going on? Was I really that oblivious? I spend months away fighting fires, risking my life, and she's out doing this with someone I've worked with who's supposed to be part of our brotherhood. It felt like the entire foundation of my life was crumbling in that moment. I didn't sleep that night, just stared at that message over and over, trying to process what I'd just seen. And deep down, I knew I couldn't ignore it anymore. I had to confront her. The next morning, I knew what I had to do. I couldn't keep pretending I didn't know. I got up early, feeling hollow and angry all at once. I had to see her face, hear her lie, or better yet, catch her in the act again. I waited until she was in the kitchen, pouring herself a coffee, acting like everything was normal. That bitchy smirk she always has when she's trying to act innocent. I looked at her and just blurted out, "Lisa, what the hell is going on? I saw the pictures. Tell me the truth. Are you cheating on me?" She froze for a second, then sighed, rolling her eyes. "Oh, please, Jake. You don't have any proof. You're just being paranoid. It's nothing, I swear." Her voice was high-pitched, already defensive. That's her tactic, deny, deny, deny. She always thought she could spin her way out of any situation, but I was done with her lies. I pulled out my phone, showing her the message and the photo I found. Her face blanched when she saw it. For a moment, she didn't say anything. Then she started with the usual bullshit. "It's nothing. Mike and I are just friends. You're overreacting. You're always gone fighting fires. What am I supposed to do? Just sit here and wait?" Her words spun around me like a hurricane. She was trying to make it seem like I was the one at fault for her cheating, like I was neglecting her because I was out risking my life. But I knew better. I knew this was about her wanting excitement, wanting to feel alive, and she found that in someone else. And Mike, fucking Mike, who's supposed to be my brother in the fire department, was doing this behind my back. I told her I'd seen enough, that I wasn't going to sit around and take her lies. I told her I was done, that I needed space to think. She didn't take it well. She started yelling at me, calling me jealous, insecure, and saying I was just accusing her because I was gone so much. That she deserved better, that I was a terrible husband, and that I was overreacting because I didn't trust her. But I also saw her eyes flicker, like she was trying to hide something, or maybe she was realizing she was losing control. I told her I didn't want to hear her stupid excuses anymore. I wanted her to leave right then. She scoffed, stormed out of the house, and left me standing there, furious and heartbroken all at once. That day, I felt a mix of emotions I'd never experienced before. There was the fury, knowing she betrayed me so openly. The sadness, realizing the woman I loved and trusted had been lying to my face for who knows how long. And the betrayal by her, by Mike, by the fire department brotherhood I'd always believed in. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, and kept replaying the moment I saw her face when I confronted her. I wasn't sure if I was angry at her, at Mike, or at myself for not seeing it coming. I also started questioning everything. How long had she been doing this? Was she ever truly faithful? Was this just a one-time thing, or had it been going on for months? I felt stupid for trusting her at all. And yet part of me just wanted to believe I'd been wrong, that maybe it was just a stupid mistake, that she'd deny it all and I'd have to deal with her bullshit once again. But deep down, I knew this was different. This wasn't some accidental slip-up. It was outright betrayal, and it cut deep. I didn't want to just forget it. No, I wanted to do something about it. I needed a plan, a way to make her understand what she'd done to me. But I also knew I couldn't just lash out blindly. I needed to think. I needed to be smart about what came next. After that confrontation, I knew I had to step back and figure out my next move. I couldn't keep letting her lie and spin her stories. I decided to do some digging, see if there was more to the story, or if she was just going to keep pretending it was. Nothing. I started by reviewing the security footage from the house, thinking maybe I'd find some proof of her sneaking around when I wasn't home. I also wanted to check if she'd been sneaking out late at night, or if anyone else had been over while I was fighting fires miles away. I spent a few nights watching those recordings. It was brutal, the silence, the empty house, the moments I wasn't around. Then one night I saw a pattern. She left the house late, always after I was gone, and she'd come back in the early hours, acting like she'd been out with friends or at some workout class. But the footage told a different story. I saw her sneaking into the garage, meeting someone in her car, then sneaking back inside. The timing matched my suspicions exactly. She wasn't just lying, she was actively hiding what she was doing. That's when I started noticing her phone more often, her texting, her deleting messages. She'd get defensive if I asked to see it, but I was getting desperate. I needed to confirm everything. One evening, I managed to sneak her phone away when she wasn't looking. I put a little spy app on it. I know, sneaky, but I was desperate. Over the next few days, I watched her messages, her calls, all the little lies she was spinning. It was worse than I expected. She was talking to Mike constantly, almost every day. They even made plans to meet up, not just for secret sex, but apparently to do things that made me sick just reading about it. The worst part, she had lied about everything. Her excuses, her denials, they were all fake. She told me she was working late, going out with friends, doing some stupid exercise class. Meanwhile, she was with him. I found texts where she called him babe, said she missed him, and even checked yes when he asked if she was free that night. All behind my back while I was risking my life fighting fires. That's when the anger turned into pure, boiling rage. I wasn't just hurt, I was furious. How the hell did she think she could get away with this? How could she betray me like this after everything we'd been through? I started making plans. I knew I couldn't just storm in and accuse her again. That would only make her deny harder or turn it around. I had to be smart, calculated. I wanted her to see that I knew everything, but I didn't want her to think I was just some desperate fool. I wanted her to understand that I was done playing her game. I decided I'd confront her in a way that would make her realize I wasn't going to be pushed around anymore. I kept collecting the evidence, getting ready to lay it all out. I was aware that this was about more than just betrayal. It was about dignity, respect, and making her see that her actions had consequences. At the same time, I felt my trust in her evaporating. The woman I loved, the woman I married, had turned into someone I didn't even recognize. I'd always thought of her as strong, confident, maybe a little bitchy, sure, but honest. Turns out, she was just hiding who she really was. I was hurt, yes, but also sickened by how she'd lied to my face for so long. And worst of all, she'd done it with someone I trusted, someone I worked with, someone I'd called brother in this brotherhood of firemen. That's what got me the most, feeling like the entire brotherhood was violated by her selfishness. I knew I couldn't just let this go. I had to decide what I was going to do next. Either I'd call her out directly, or I'd find a way to make her see she'd crossed the line too far. Either way, I knew I'd have to face the fallout, and I wasn't sure if I was ready for it. The day I decided to confront her for real, I knew I had to be prepared. I gathered all the evidence I'd collected, the screenshots of her texts, pictures of her sneaking out, the security footage clips. I made sure I had everything in one place so I could present it clearly. I also wanted her to understand that I wasn't some fool who could be manipulated anymore. I wanted her to see that I knew every lie, every secret rendezvous, every moment she thought she was getting away with. That evening, I reached out to her, telling her I wanted to talk. She showed up at the door with that typical smirk, thinking she could manipulate the situation again. But I was ready. I told her I had something to show. Her proof. She scoffed, trying to brush it off, but I interrupted her with the evidence laid out on the kitchen table. Her face twisted when she saw the photos, the text messages, the footage. The cat was out of the bag now. There was no denying it. Her reaction was immediate anger, denial, then a flurry of bullshit excuses. It was just sex, she spat. It didn't mean anything. Mike means nothing to me. I was just bored. You're never here, Jake. You're always out fighting fires. What else was I supposed to do? She looked like she was trying to justify her actions, like she thought she could wave it all away with her bitchy attitude and fake tears. But I wasn't buying it. I told her that I was done with her lies, that I'd seen enough. I told her I wanted her to leave and not come back. She started screaming, calling me jealous, controlling, and accused me of not trusting her. She said I was paranoid, that I was making it all up because I was too busy to pay attention. That's when I saw her eyes flicker again, like she was trying to find a way out, trying to convince herself that she hadn't crossed the line. But I wasn't buying her bullshit anymore. I told her I was tired of her lies, tired of the games, and that I was done being the fool in this relationship. That night she packed her bags and left, slamming the door behind her. She yelled some last-minute insults, calling me crazy and accusing me of ruining everything. But honestly, I felt a strange mix of relief and devastation. Relief because I finally knew the truth and she couldn't hide from it anymore. Devastation because I loved her and I'd never thought she'd do something like this. She betrayed the brotherhood, she betrayed me, and she betrayed everything I thought we had. In the days that followed, I felt almost numb. The house was empty. The silence was deafening. I kept replaying everything in my head, her lies, her sneers, the way she'd look at Mike, so comfortable and confident. I kept asking myself why I was so blind, why I never saw the signs until now. I realized that I'd been so caught up in fighting fires, protecting others, that I'd ignored the warning signs of what was happening behind my back. I thought I was the one risking everything outside, but what I didn't see was how she was destroying what little we had inside. Now I sit here trying to process what's happened. I feel betrayed, angry, hurt, and yet somehow a little relieved too. I know I can't trust her anymore, not after what I've seen, not after what she's done. But I also feel lost, trying to figure out what's next. Do I try to fix this? Do I let her go? Do I even want to? The fire department brotherhood, the trust I once had in her, all seem shattered beyond repair. I've learned a hard lesson. The person you love can betray you in ways you least expect, and sometimes the only way forward is to walk away from the rubble of what was once a life I thought I knew. After she left, everything changed. The house felt cold and empty, like I'd been stripped of my sanctuary. I stayed up most nights, staring at the ceiling, trying to make sense of it all. Part of me kept thinking maybe she'd come back, that she'd somehow realize the mistake she'd made, but deep down I knew better. The trust was gone, completely evaporated. The woman I thought I knew was nothing but a stranger now, an adulteress, a liar, someone I could no longer recognize. In the weeks that followed, I threw myself into my work more than ever. Being a firefighter means you're used to chaos, fires, emergencies, life and death situations. But this was different. Inside, I was a mess. I'd never been so hurt or so angry. I kept asking myself how she could do this, how she could betray the brotherhood and me so openly. My mind kept circling back to Mike, the supposed brother, the guy I'd trusted, now just some man who'd slept with my wife. I didn't even want to see him again, but I knew I'd soon be face to face with the reality of what he'd done. One night, I finally decided I needed closure. I reached out to Mike, not to fight but just to hear him out. I told him I knew what happened, that I had the evidence, and that I wanted to know why. His response was cold, dismissive. He brushed it off as nothing serious, said Lisa was just someone to pass the time with, that it didn't mean anything to him. Yeah, right. I could see right through that bullshit. What really hurt was how casual he was about it, like it was just a game, like I was some fool who'd never find out. That conversation was a punch to the gut. I realized then that I was dealing with betrayal on a level that went beyond just cheating. It was about a brotherhood that I'd believed in, shattered by selfishness and lies. I felt a rage I'd never known, this burning need to punish, to make her pay for what she'd done. The more I thought about it, the more I knew I couldn't just let it go. I had to make her see what she lost, what she threw away with her selfishness. So I started making plans, not reckless ones, but calculated. I wanted her to understand that I wasn't going to be a fool anymore, that I'd see through all her fake apologies and tears. I knew she'd try to come back, maybe plead or lie, but I wasn't interested in her excuses. I wanted her to understand the damage she'd caused. I wanted her to feel the weight of her betrayal, not just from me, but from everyone she'd hurt. Meanwhile, I also realized I needed to focus on myself. I couldn't keep living in this limbo of anger and heartbreak. I started seeing a therapist, something I'd never done before. It helped. Talking through everything, I began to understand that this was more about me than her. I'd let her control my happiness, my trust, my sense of security. Now I had to learn how to rebuild it without her. I knew I couldn't stay in this limbo forever, pretending everything was okay when inside, I was falling apart. In the end, I knew I had a choice to make. I could keep chasing after a woman who had proven she was capable of this level of betrayal, or I could cut her loose, accept what she did, and rebuild. The fire in me told me I was done being the fool, that I deserved more than this bullshit. I can't say I've made my final decision yet. Sometimes I think about trying to forgive, but other times I just want to forget her completely. Whatever I choose, I know I'll never be the same. That fire, the brotherhood, my trust, those are all damaged now. And honestly, I'm not sure if they can ever be mended. But one thing's clear, I won't let her destroy me any more than she already has. I'll find my way back somehow, even if it's alone. Looking back now, I realize that betrayal cuts deeper than I ever thought possible. I thought I knew Lisa, thought she was my partner, my confidant, someone I could trust with everything. Turns out, she was just good at hiding her true self behind that bitchy smile and sharp tongue. I still remember the sinking feeling when I saw her face that night, knowing she'd lied, cheated, and played me like a fool for months. It didn't just hurt, it shattered whatever remnant of the life I thought we had. In the aftermath, I've learned a lot about myself. I've learned that trust is fragile, something you think is unbreakable until it's shattered into pieces by someone you loved. I learned that the brotherhood I valued so much isn't always pure. Sometimes, it's just as full of betrayal and selfishness as any other part of life. And I've learned that no matter how much you want to believe in someone, sometimes the truth is better than the lie, Better to face the pain now than live in denial. I've come to accept that I can't undo what's done and I won't try to. I can only move forward. It's not easy. Some days, the pain hits me like a punch in the chest. I find myself staring at the empty space where Lisa used to be, wondering if she ever truly loved me or if I was just another chapter in her selfish story. But over time, I've started to rebuild. Not the house we had, not the life I wanted, but myself. Piece by piece, I've been putting myself back together, learning to trust again, learning to forgive myself for trusting her in the first place. What I want anyone reading this to take away is simple. Don't ignore the signs. When someone shows you who they really are, believe them. Don't brush off the red flags, even if they seem small at first. Because once the trust is gone, everything else crumbles too. If you're in a relationship where you feel more pain than happiness, don't be afraid to walk away. Sometimes, the most courageous thing you can do is admit you're hurt, pick yourself up, and start over. To anyone dealing with betrayal, know you're not alone. It's one of the most savage, soul-crushing experiences in life, but it also teaches you resilience. You'll find strength you never knew you had. I've realized that I don't need her or anyone else to define me. My worth isn't based on her lies or her betrayal. It's about how I choose to move on and what I do with what I've learned. So I'll keep fighting fires, keep risking my life, but I'll also learn to trust again, just maybe not blindly. I've learned that sometimes the biggest lessons come from the worst betrayals, and even though the scars are fresh, I'll come out of this stronger. I'll rebuild my life piece by piece, and I'll never let someone's betrayal take away my sense of worth again. Life's too short to waste on someone who doesn't see your value, and from here on out, I'll be the one in control of my future. No more lies, no more betrayal, just the truth, my strength, and a hope that someday I'll find someone who truly deserves my trust.